Attention students, the Jabroni University Network is now in session. Please make your way to class.
Rad Chaser. Rad Chaser. Rad Chaser. Rad Chaser. Rad Chaser.
Coming to you from Fabulous Studio B Plus in Bradenton, Florida. It's the Rad I don't remember what the show is called. It's the Chaser Brothers podcast with me, the son of Rad Chaser, and the man of the hour who reads Nintendo Power, the Bionic Commando from Orlando, the gamer who should come with a disclaimer, Rad Chaser.
Friends, hey, hi, hello, how you doing?
Rad Chaser.
I didn't tell you I was going
I
to push
spoke
the
over the intro. Whoops.
Whoopsie.
Hit me one more time.
Rad Chaser.
Friends, hey, hi, hello, how you doing? Welcome to the show. What's been going on? This is Rad Chaser. Still getting our feet wet in the old podcast arena. As you can tell, we're dealing with real-time problems. Bells and whistles, whatnot, laser sounds, boops, beeps and boops.
Now,
It's fun though.
And I'm to understand that there's a war going on. Am I right in this?
Actually, there's two wars going on.
Wars? Okay, what we got a couple things on the docket today because last week was weird and a little bit frustrating.
It's in the past.
Yeah,
I'm done. I'm over it.
yeah. Look, we can glean some insight from it, and then we can move forward, and it's fine because this is what we have to deal with when we're trying to make content. So first question before we get into it, what you working on?
So 3 days out of the week, I live at my, I don't want to call it a slave job, but it's, the thing I spend time doing to earn income to, do the stuff I want to do. So 36 hours I am away from everything I know and love, and that's what I've been working on for 3 days a week. So it takes a little bit of decompression to come off of that. So we do that. I do that, and then we immediately Monday morning wake up and do the podcast. So I'm a little groggy, okay, from modern day indentured servitude, you might want to call it.
Well, yeah, we normally get up on Monday and we start doing, we get the business phone call going. It's about 5 minutes business, 3 hours,
Pleasure.
yeah. We're not really, we got to work on that balance or whatever, but
yeah,
now with doing this on Monday morning, now it's the weekend goes boom, 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 and then bam, it's just like right back into the meat grinder of doing the content stuff. But I feel like we need to push to get the ball rolling. How's that?
I'm tired. I'm tired, but it's a good tired. I need to get prepped a little bit better for the podcast, maybe ahead of the weekend. So that's a process, a learning process there. Listen, it's fine. Don't worry. Look, it's all about yapping, and that's pretty much all we do is yap. So we can just yap about the relevant content, which is going to be video games. So I'm here for it.
Strangest things can happen when yapping. I think Dr. Dre said that.
Yep, he's a doctor.
He's done his 10,000 hours. That's for sure.
He's accredited.
So
what do we got?
I just wrapped up. I wrapped up my weekly Nintendo Power things literally right before we started talking. I still have to schedule a couple more of them to drop, but I mean, I just did that. There's just a lot of complications this last week, which is sort of the topic I think for today is just complications.
Sure.
So
you're doing one a week. Shorts? What are the videos?
the daily Nintendo Power videos are so I got a pretty sizable mountain of these Nintendo Powers that I've been going through one a day, just flipping through. And so part of it was let's throw an idea to the wall and see if it sticks. I mean they chart okay. I've only had one pop above 1,000, but look, it's fine. I'm not obsessed with the numbers. It's just sort of a base to either understand how like what kind of content to make in the future, but also it's just a thing of, well, we got this lined up and ready to go. This idea is here, I can implement it. So I've also been using it to learn how to use the editing software, and the quality of the quality of the shorts is improving. I can feel it, so then I can implement creative choices, so I don't have to worry about doing actual editing stuff or whatever. But people are liking the stuff. People are commenting on it, so that's great. I leave a comment. One of us will respond to it. I've definitely been responding to all of the Nintendo Power ones personally. So if you find one, from 20 days ago or something, I might have to go looking for it maybe, but like I will respond to everything. So there's that, which has been cool. It's cool that we're putting something out there, and somebody has something to say about a good memory, or just questions, which I also love answering.
Yeah.
That was sort of a piggyback off of your the one a day NES games, which you sort of you've run out of NES games. You got to build up more. So
Yeah, I got a handful left. I mean, I've been slacking a little bit. You've definitely been holding up the channel on the shorts front with the NES magazines or the Nintendo Powers. So good on you. It's nice to have two people in the mix, in case one person slows down a little bit in terms of making and posting stuff. So that's good. I don't know. The Nintendo Powers haven't been doing as well as the NES games one a day. I don't know if that's because of the content, like the magazines versus the video games. I don't know if it's just the way they're laid out. Who knows? But we're working on it. It's again, like you said, it's just a process, and it's still getting numbers, and we're not worried enough about numbers. I'm worried about making cool stuff and having a place where somebody can go and say, oh, issue whatever of Nintendo Power had this, and this on it. So like you said, it triggers people's memories, which is cool. And that's even if we get just a handful of people who see something and they're like, oh, okay, and then they start a discussion, and that's again, I mentioned before, it's like just nice to find some people who are like-minded, and because it's like we have these memories we talk about and we yap all day about it, and it's like, oh, this was I was at this place playing this video game at this time in life, and it's nice to know that there's other people like that. So basically what I wanted to do with the the new videos that we're making, the long form videos, is how our life is, how we relate our life with video games. Because you have tons of stories of like, well, I was doing this, I was playing this game when this happened to me. I was playing this game when I finally knew what it was like to kiss a girl, in your 30s when that first happened.
Yeah, it was just before Breath of the Wild came out, I think.
Are you talking about the game or her breath?
Yeah, I was a young 37-year-old man before I knew a true woman's touch.
You kissed her on the mouth. What did that taste like? It was Breath of the Wild for sure.
Oh my goodness. People subs are still trickling in, which I'm grateful for. I think the Nintendo Power Shorts are definitely more of a hey, look at this cool thing, and less of a tie to like having some sort of emotional resonance for me. Although I mean, they do. I look back through these things, and I've noticed that some some of the comments that I've been seeing have been like, I had this specific issue of Nintendo Power, and I read it over and over and over again, and that's kind of a cool thing to see, where you don't have every single issue of Nintendo Power. You have one that you are like, I needed to buy that at that point in time, and then you have that person who says, I've read that one over and over again. So it's cool that's cool. Like, yeah. I feel like maybe I ought to get a bit more of that into the mix. But they just more been like a brief showcase, because ultimately the Nintendo Powers are, here's either something that's coming out, and obviously this thing has already come out, between 15 and 20 years ago now, or even longer time than that, or whatever.
Yep.
Or it's a player's guide, which again is, okay, you got 20 seconds and I'm just flipping through this thing. So it is just like a, hey, look at my cool collect. I mean, I feel kind of bad saying that, because I feel like it's a bit of a vanity project. But I mean, I like making the videos, so it's fine. There's a means to an end that isn't just like, numbers, we need more numbers, gotta have more numbers.
Yeah. I mean, look, you gotta think these Nintendo Powers. Before the internet, you couldn't just go online and say, I just need to walk through for this game. You can't just go on somewhere and type it in. Like, people like look at the maps in these magazines. It was a lot of times it was their only help. You get stuck in a spot. Here's the feature on whatever game it was, and here's a walkthrough. Okay, blah blah blah. So, the internet sort of took care of all that. With walkthroughs and such.
That's true. I have noticed in the older issues that I would definitely find stuff where it's like, here's this cool game that's going to come out, and then the project got abandoned or whatever, like Earthbound 64. And then that, like, they eventually ended up making Mother 3, but like they were working on an Earthbound game for Nintendo 64 that was like 3D-ish looking. So it's just finding like stuff that got forgotten to time, and like if you're not thumbing through that magazine, like something like really got forgotten to time. So that it's a lot of the times I'm just like, look at this cool ad. Look at this ad for this thing that came out in the time. Yeah.
It's weird that they would put an unfinished game that was maybe not definitely coming out. They just throw that in there, like, and then just abandon it and never speak of it again. I don't think they would do that these days.
Yeah, well, I think with the way that it works now and everything is, you're making a game with, are you getting tired?
Yeah, it's hard to
listen
hard to stay
you
awake.
Go on and on about this.
Droning. I forgot we're on video too.
An incredibly unbroken sentence moving from topic to topic.
We haven't even moved from topic to topic. We've been on one topic. One incredibly unbroken topic.
As Picard's got ADD. Just like, the guy that was talking to Picard had ADD. It's just like, Jesus, stick to one thing, man. Come on.
There will be many references in this podcast that you probably won't get. You'll have to look them up. Just copy and paste the transcript in the internet. Speaking of the internet.
Yeah, that's a Picard song for you. Ted, go to YouTube and have a fun 5 minutes listening to that. Yeah, so I forgot what I was saying, but yeah, and I don't think they plan for release in just one thing. It's like, okay, we're making this thing. How's the worldwide release going to work out? I feel like with the nature of how they produce the games, it's okay. We're pouring all this time and money into it. It has to get done, and then also it's going to get. It's not like how I see Mr. Poop Poops walking around in the background. It's not like how it was in the NES days where they were making 5 Famicom games to every one US release or whatever.
Right.
So I think you find more of that the further back those issues go. So it's
Yeah. It's just wild to see, like, you know, like you've already mentioned, like you said, the Earthbound thing, you know, just stuff that's like that. It just blows my mind that they would stick something in there that's not finished. Like it's definite. It may or may not come out. Or we'll stick it in there. That's some Wild West stuff.
well, right, but
me.
you gotta figure something like Earthbound is like, hey man, they're working on this Earthbound thing. That's gonna be awesome when it comes out. Like they're not thinking about getting most of the way through a project and being like, we have to abandon this because of either money or it's just not, because sometimes you get a bunch of the way through the production process and the game's not good, and then you're left with this problem of like, oh my gosh, like what are we going to do? Like Miyamoto did this with a recent Zelda game, the Link Between Worlds. He's supervising on this game, and so they did like 6 months of work or something on it, and he's like this is not, it's not working. Like we gotta scrap it, start back over again, and they
Throw it out.
yeah, right. And so it's like, you've been working on something for 6 months, and then you gotta throw it all away and get lifted and do it all over again.
What do you do with that? Do you just shelve it? Do you really just permanently delete it? It's just sitting somewhere.
I
It's got to be sitting. I wouldn't delete it. Get rid of it.
Oh, I gotta think so. It's probably just sitting on a hard drive somewhere, and
Right.
that is crazy. But ultimately, like, if you were to grab that out and have it and start playing it, you would probably end up being like, yeah, this guy was right. Like this isn't very good. Or I'm not getting that feeling that I should be getting while I'm playing a Zelda game. And this is why Miyamoto's, the GOAT.
He's the dude.
So
Yeah, it's go ahead.
no, you're good.
It's just there's fanatics. There's fanatics. There's Philly fanatics. There's fanatics that love consuming everything, like, of a certain franchise, and would love to see or play an unfinished game, even though, hey, it may not be good, or they know it's unfinished. People love that. So I love stuff like that. If I'm into a thing, I'm like, oh, here's this little side thing that never got released, or here's this. I mean, like Back to the Future with Eric Stoltz as Marty McFly. There's footage of that exists. It's not all released, but you see little clips here and there, and it's like, that would have been a wild movie.
I really can't. Or I guess we're talking about Back to the Future 2 now. It's fine. Listen, it's a nostalgia podcast, so now you get a little taste here. I can't in my mind imagine that Back to the Future. I don't know why I said Back to the Future 2. Why the first Back to the Future movie with Eric Stoltz? It couldn't have been bad. They wanted Michael J. Fox. Like, that's the thing.
Yep.
They wanted Michael J. Fox. Couldn't get Michael J. Fox. They went with their second choice. Now, it wasn't unfolding the way that they wanted it to unfold, because there was supposed to be some underlying current of funny.
Will they or won't they? Doc and Marty? No. Sorry.
I don't know. I mean, I thought Eric Stoltz looked really cool in that movie, though.
Yeah.
It would almost be like, hey, let's do a more serious take on Back to the Future. Is what
That's it.
is what I get out of it, and I it's the same words coming out of most of the same people doing, the same things. Like, I think the movie would have gotten made regardless if Michael J. Fox is like, I can't do it. I don't want to do 22-hour days for 6 months or however long it takes to film the movie.
Sure. Eric Stoltz just played it. He just played it more serious, because he was trying to do some serious stuff, I guess. So it just didn't jive. It didn't pass the vibe check, and Zemeckis and whoever, Bob Gale, they're like, we can't do this. We need a light-hearted element.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. It's maybe this isn't a good point because a few of the comedy greats have said this, but people like Leslie Nielsen and I don't remember the guy's name off the top of my head, but the guy who voiced the captain in C-Lab 2021.
Yeah, sure. We'll put the info up right here. Oh, we're not doing a video. We can't do that. Just kidding. You have to look it up yourself, kids.
So he, like they both say like, oh, like you're playing this role serious or whatever. Like, I'm always serious when I'm acting.
Right.
And like it's true. Like, they're not screwing around. Like they're taking everything seriously. It's silly. So I mean, I don't know that Eric Stoltz embodied that element or whatever, but I just can't imagine that. I can't imagine that it's not good. I don't know.
Sure. It's yeah. Yes, you can be serious, be a good, you have to look at the whole thing. You gotta look at the whole picture. Like, yeah, like if you're in a band and you can rip on a guitar, yeah, sure, okay. But if you're shredding in every song, it's like, well, are you servicing the song by doing this? Are you servicing the movie by, acting serious? Yes, you got some chops, but it's like, is that what this movie calls for?
Well, see, that's the thing with Back to the Future is my brain doesn't immediately think, oh yeah, that movie's hilarious. Or here's a question for you. What's the funniest joke in Back to the Future?
I don't know.
This is my point. This is my point. Like, you can't think of any. Okay, I'll give you an example of something that just popped in my head. Take a movie that's definitely a comedy, like Superbad. Now, the first thing that popped into my head is the part where Seth gets his throat slashed. And this is what I'm saying. Like, both of us have seen Back to the Future 1,000 times. I'm not thinking like it's a comedy. I'm not thinking it's a comedy. I mean, like, they definitely, especially Doc, but even then I can only think of the things that I don't know, the miscommunications about the fact that like Marty's like, oh, like this is heavy. It's like, heavy, you keep using that word heavy. Like, what is there, like the gravitational whatever, just little stuff. Like, I'm sure plutonium's available in every corner store, but the 50s is a little bit harder to get a hold of.
Sure. It's
more ironic more than funny.
They're just comedic. It's just more of a comedic, a larger than life character. Like, it's just boisterous.
Oh, okay.
Cartoonish almost.
You hit. I think you hit the nail on the head there, because when I think of Michael J. Fox, I think of Marty McFly, and like that's that. He did a bunch of other stuff, but I think of I think of Marty McFly. In the same way that you mentioned Christopher Lloyd, so I was going to think Doc Brown, because it is larger than life characters. And so if Stoltz couldn't embody that, then okay, yeah, sure.
Sure. They filmed for like 6 weeks or something, so, and got rid of him. It's a hard thing to do. It's a tough call, but it served the movie. So anyway, Back to the Future, the video game.
Oh,
One of the worst.
I'd rather not.
Yeah, an LJN title. You see LJN on a game, you're in for a bad time.
Yeah,
You're in for a bad ride.
Let's jolt now. Get away from it as fast as you can.
Nice one. I see what you did there.
Yes, you do.
Rad Chaser.
Segway time. So the Nintendo Powers. I'm sitting here loading these things up right before this show started.
Yeah.
My plan was to have this stuff done on Thursday. So there's complications, man. Like that's there's not unlimited time in the world to be posting content. And that is a thing that bums me out, where I get to the Monday's the start of the week for us. And
yeah.
I get bummed when it's Monday and it's already like, I can't get to anything until Thursday. Last week it's like, okay, Monday's good. Then daughter of son of Chaser, ear infection. So now I have a sick 3-year-old for at home for the back half of the week since Wednesday.
Yeah.
And that you can't make content while you're taking care of a sick 3-year-old. You can't do it. So then everything gets thrown to the wayside. And it's not even just chasing stuff. Now it's like I can't even keep the house clean, because it's like every 5 seconds, like they need something. And so this is, you get these curveballs that complicate your week. And it defeats you a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking about last night all week, where I was just like, all right, I'm gonna be able to get in there, and I'm gonna be able to do this. I'm gonna be able to get this stuff knocked out, even though it's gonna take well past my bedtime, but I'm gonna get it done. And then the baby goes down, and then she's waking up every 15 minutes, and it's like, okay, hey, like I took care of that. Now my wife takes care of it. Now I'm taking care of it. And then eventually she was like, she needs some sleeping medicine, because but I have this window of time at the end of the day, which is my private time. And so when the kids are having issues like that eats into my private time. I'm not saying that I'm mad about it. I'm just saying that's what happens. So it sucks, because now, like, his poor baby can't sleep, and now I got to stay up later to get less work done. Which is what ended up happening. I was up until 2:00 last night working on stuff, and then I still got up at 6:45, got everyone back to school, went and got breakfast, and I came right back here and started chopping, because I gotta get the stuff done for the beginning of the week, because it's gotta get done, and especially with the complications that you've been having for the last couple of weeks, the prayer here is that the depressions don't intersect with one another, and then okay, it's just been a week or two and we haven't produced anything between the two of us. So this is the complication for me, is just as soon as other, outside influences start taking over my personal time, now I can't do stuff. And the other thing that sucks too is having to use all of my personal time to do chaser stuff. I can't enjoy the benefits of the stuff that I'm chasing down, which is, playing the video games. I haven't played a video game all week. Just
You're hurting.
yeah, I'm hurting. It's just complicated. These are the complications of, a person with a full family unit. You're single over there. What? Tell me about your complications, because I just feel like last week was not good for either of us, really.
Well, so up until December, we've been making videos, the two of us. You came up for a while, and we made a good batch of content. And, we squeezed 7 videos out of it. So that's good. And you were only up here for 4 days. So that was nice. But it was a lot of going out into the world chasing. It was a lot of recording, getting our bearings. We got a couple new pieces of equipment while we were in the midst of producing stuff. So figuring all that out, going out into the world, filming, setting up shots, just a lot of work. Coming back to the house, doing confessionals on what we've just done. Just kind of getting everything set up so it's runs like a nice episode of something. The end product. So that was November. So basically from then to the end of Christmas and New Year's, I basically spent a lot of every bit of free time I had cutting stuff together, and it is a grind. It's a little bit tiresome, but it's it's a good tired, but it is it consumes time and energy. So the way, like I was saying before, the way my week works is the 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, unavailable. I'm working at it's a sushi place. I work there. I'm just I live there. I shouldn't even come home because it's I have to turn around and go back the next day. So that's my one complication, is 3 days of the week I can't really do anything. Like you were saying, you're like, oh, I got this thing I want to do on Monday and I can't do it till Thursday. That's me from Friday to Sunday. So
you should just go home with Chef and the rest of the cooks.
Right, just huddle up with them. All the chefs, all the sushi chefs, half the people, they all live in the same in the same house. It's an interesting setup. I guess makes for a nice unit. So that it is what it is. Yeah, it's funny. I thought about it, but I don't know who would come back and feed Mr. Poop Poops. That's a big question on that. He can't go 3 days without his master.
Big ass bucket of food and a big ass bucket of water.
He needs a big ass bucket of me. Yeah, I get a cutout or a video on loop and just playing every so often. Hey, little poop poop.
Oh, Mr. Poop Poops.
It's funny.
Stop touching me. Why do you have to be touching me all the time?
All right, stop scratching up the security deposit on the carpet. It's just a loop of me yelling at him.
It's foolproof.
Keep him in line. So that's a complication. So at the end of, after Christmas, at the end of New Year's, whatever, I was like, all right, cool, we did this. Let's take a little bit of time off, which, I guess, we're doing now, which is fine. Regroup, come up with, story arcs for this, upcoming season, which we have been doing. We've been kicking around. We've been working. It's just not been actual recording of content, I guess, if you want to say. I know we keep talking about the 100 NES games that, I did videos. I still have a handful that I had just... Once you started making your shorts, I was like, okay, cool. There's at least something to fill up the daily time slot. So I was like, I sort of slacked on it a little bit. So that's my bad, which I need to say, okay, you're making something and I'm making something. So now we got more stuff in the mix, which is good. But sometimes, I'm like, I just need need a little breather. So I wouldn't say it's a lack of motivation. I would say it's more of a, let me regroup, get my thoughts in a row. It's, this chunk of like content for the year was done. Now we're on to the next year. But we're about halfway through January now, so it's about time to get, at least get something in by the end of the month. So that's a bit of a complication. Am I super worried about it? No, there'll always be, we always be content. We're always, doing something. I would like to start ripping on some new, longer form stuff. So
yeah,
just finding the time to, do that together would be something.
I thought of the idea of I thought of it. I didn't actually write it down in the simp note, but I thought of the. Well, I didn't think of the idea. You brought up the idea of since you can green screen any footage to have me appear as a, well, we're not legally allowed to say force ghost, but some sort of apparition
Of influence.
Or some kind of torque apparition. I don't know.
We're gonna work on that.
Yeah, we're gonna
name.
work on that name. But I think it would be, it'd be funny to either script out you being visited by the ghost of me who's alive, and it's just compelling you to do whatever it is that you're going to do.
Well, there you go. You could be like a little, angel on the shoulder saying, "Hey, buddy, it's time to start doing something. Think of your dead, alive brother."
Yeah. Think about what I would have wanted when I was alive, which I am.
Just think about what I want.
and then do it. Okay, well, so then last week I guess was kind of more conceptual than anything, but I don't know. Are we beating ourselves up when there's not something that you can hold in your hand at the end of the day? I guess is the question, because I feel bad. Like for me, you kind of said, hey, like once the ball is rolling on the whatever project you're working on, like it's got to keep going, because this was I for the first month of those Nintendo Power things, I did a month of them in advance before I started dropping them, so I could build up some time to either take a break from it, start doing the next batch or whatever,
Yeah.
or to have time to work on something else that's not that. And of course it caught up to me, because I knew it would, because I know how it works. The plan was always just to release them once a week, but I wanted to get a month of them done, just to do that. So that oh, bless you.
Ooh.
So I'm getting these done every week. I'm feeling the pressure to get them done every week, because ultimately I feel like I'm going to be disappointed if I don't have something I can hold in my hand at the end of the week. Like, do you also feel like that? Am I right or wrong for feeling like that? I don't know.
Oh, it's good because you build momentum. It's the same thing as like the past 4 or 5 months I started jogging, going out at at a point in dusk, at a time of day like 5:30, 5:45. I'll go out, I'll do 3 miles, walking, jogging, whatever. And you start getting consistent in a thing, and you start seeing a little bit of results, and you start feeling better. And the goal is to, get a positive habit going and to start feeling bad. That's a natural, byproduct of it if you stop doing the thing. Oh, I made so much progress. Oh, I'm losing a little bit of progress now. I get that little sting of like, I need to keep doing it, and that's good. Don't let it overtake you and get you, overwhelmed. But use that as like, you know what? I didn't want to go out and do this today. Like it's been cold here. It's Florida. It's Florida cold, but I was like, I don't want to go out there. But I was like, you know what? I need to, because I only get to do it 4 days a week, and then I'm walking it off at the old slave job. But I've said to myself, okay, well, I'm gonna try to commit to this, even if it sucks, whatever the weather is. If it's it's rainy out or whatever, it's hot, whatever. Just go and do it. And you start to feel good about stuff when you like, because consistently doing something. So if you stop doing that thing, you get that little pain of like, I know I need to be doing this, or I should be doing it. So you're developing a good habit, and by putting something out every day, or like at least I've said to myself, I need to record something every day. Do I need to post? Not necessarily, but at least record to get a bank of things going, so you can at some point put it out, because you're still building up a little arsenal of content. So yeah, it's a natural feeling to feel bad, especially if it's something you like and you're into. So it's definitely, but just use that feeling to say, okay, it's okay to fall off every so often. Just don't make it a habit of not doing it anymore. Just see, okay, skip today, that's fine. I'm trending up. That's that's the thing. So, like you've said to me, like I've been trying to keep it keto, and I feel bad when I start eating what we call slop. And you're like, dude, you've been doing good. So it's okay to treat yourself every so often. So it's a natural feeling. I think the road bump you're encountering is it seems to be taking a long time to produce even the a 20-second short. So I feel like the amount of time put into it versus however the length of the content is might be a little unbalanced. So like for me, it the NES games one a day. It took I went the approach of like, okay, I'm gonna produce it and make it a little bit snappy, whatever, fine. And then I sort of started getting a little bit relaxed because of time constraints. I was like, oh, I'm trying to put them out at 12 o'clock every day. So I was like, oh crud. It's 11:30. I need to do this. So I just sort of rip it, and it's a different feel versus a more produced thing. But that's also having a good balance of like something that is really produced and something that's off the cuff. So again, just a balance. And I think you get there. But it's okay to feel bad though.
Yeah. I watch your NES shorts, and I'm also thinking I'm thinking to myself like, hey, I also have a mountain of games, so that's I can also just go through my own my own games. It will have my little spin on it, but hopefully with that, I think that's just the thing with the magazines, is that there's so many cuts. So it's I've learned over a long time that the most efficient way to do something is to do all of the job at once. So to that end, the magazines it's like, okay, a week is an amount of time to produce whatever, because that's the schedule we're following, a weekly schedule. So I do, I have my whole session where I sit down and I mark all the pages out. So I have one page of my notebook that's full of all the stuff that I'm going to do. Then I film, and that takes about 20 minutes to 30 minutes for seven of these shorts, and that's just getting the shots set up, getting the lighting right, and then the actual filming takes about 20 minutes. Then I go and do the voiceovers, and it's 20 seconds of voice, and then I pull 20 seconds of audio from all the stuff. So I mean, that probably takes about an hour there, and then the rest of it's just chopping and putting everything together, and that's the part that sort of takes about a couple of hours to do. It gets faster every time I do it, but sometimes it depends on what's in the magazines too. So the production takes a little bit longer on those because it requires a lot of cuts. But the NES the NES thing is like, it really only there's like 3 or 4 cuts in there, baby.
Yeah.
As opposed to 15 to 20 cuts for every 20 every 20 seconds of footage that I'm doing. Then I process everything one by one, and then load everything one by one. I still haven't loaded everything. It's all done. I gotta finish loading it up after after we finish doing this or whatever. But so I have an idea. I have an idea for the NES thing, especially since I fixed ye old top loader.
Nice.
I've got a bunch of footage. I don't have the time to cut it in. I got a bunch of footage of different stuff. I'm having trouble finding the time to get in and cut it into content. So, again, with a week like this, it's like, hey, man, it's after Christmas. All this stuff is done. We're gonna start getting back on track, and then boom, curveball, and then your whole week is screwed up, basically.
Yeah, and that's that's stuff you can't really account for. Especially like you said, you got a whole family to deal with. I just got me to deal with. So what do you do? That's the question. What do you? You literally could just it takes a minute, 30 seconds, whatever, to just film something, in real time and just throw it up. You got a wall of video games. Hey, this is this game, blah blah blah. It came out when so and so, herpty derpty doo. What are your thoughts? Just something. So I mean, you can do something that that you could put up. It just depends. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It just I don't know. I don't know if my standard of what, like, I don't know if my standard for what I'm producing is too high. I don't know. I just feel like I'm doing the bare minimum right now. I mean, especially because it's down to the wire, and I'm like just now getting the stuff done. So it's been a week where I felt like I got the absolute bare minimum done. And it's felt like that for the last couple of weeks. So it just
sure, and I feel like that can get you down too, because you feel like the thing you are making is not up to what like you said, up to your standard. Like, you spend time making a thing, you're like, yeah, okay, and then you're like, you start getting, should I even post this thing that I made? Should I, is it good? Blah blah blah. That's a roadblock. People encounter that for sure. Like we've said before, we don't ever run out of ideas. So it's like, what, just post the thing. It's like there's another thing coming up right behind it.
I suppose that's right. I don't know. I just don't like the idea of slopping something together. I get what you mean by doing that, by just like, all right, we got it's got to get put together as fast as possible to get submitted by the deadline or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like we have the production value at our disposal. So I don't know, man. I've just been feeling some kind of way. I just don't know what it is.
Sure. Yeah. Ma'am, I understand. I would say, like I've said before, I was like, let's have things that are more produced, that take longer to make. And we slowly work on those, and then have the things you just point your phone at whatever and do it, and then just upload it. You have a good mix of something produced that's slick, all the bells and whistles, and then something that's just you just ripped it. I feel like that's a good balance, because it's like we could see like, oh, he just thought of something and then pulled his phone out and recorded it. You capture a little magic that way, for sure. It doesn't necessarily mean, it's bad or, not good quality just because, you did it, quick. You
It's
had an
it's
idea.
content. It's content. Everything's
It-
content.
It's content for the machine, okay? For all the cogs, for all those gaming cogs out there listening, okay? You're going to consume it and you're going to like it because that's the Rad Chaser way. And that's the son of Rad Chaser way. You will enjoy our content.
Yeah. Gleefully enjoy your slop and praise Rad Chaser and his son of Rad
And
Chaser.
be happy that you got anything at all. Rad, 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 rad.
Jeez. All
Okay.
right, it's time. I think it's probably time to start bottom lining it.
Sure. Okay. So the bottom line here is in life, there are complications. Okay. If you have a goal in mind, go for it. Any progress is progress. If you do 10 seconds of something, that's 10 more seconds than you had before. And that's money in the bank. And that goes, you trend up. So if you're having a hard time, now, everyone has a hard time. It's what you do with that adversity that, makes or breaks a person, and you can do it. Listener, I believe in you. And if you have any problems, send us a message. We're here to lift you up. We have our own trials and tribulations ourselves. So as such, we're in the trenches with you, and we're here to help. We're all bros. We're all chaser bros. What do you got?
My bottom line, I just don't think Back to the Future would have been a bad movie with Eric Stoltz.
It would have been. It's hard. Look, have you seen any of the footage?
I think Eric Stoltz looks badass. I think
Yes,
he's
that's
way cool.
undeniable.
I think he's way cooler looking than Marty McFly.
I'll agree to that. He had a cooler look. Even, he had this cool shirt with like a schematic of like a guitar or something like that. I can't remember. He had cooler hair.
Yeah, like
He looked cool. If we could take if we could take Michael J. Fox's brain and put it in Eric Stoltz and get that performance, I think we would have, had something. And we could probably AI that. I mean, that we could probably make that happen.
Yeah, and by we mean thee. So
Right. So someone out there, make that happen. Get it back to us. We'll slap our name on it. We'll give you a producing credit, and that's it.
yeah, please don't. Don't do that. Let's just imagine that you did it. Sorry, the AI is poisoning the planet. I'm the son of Rad Chaser. I don't know what we got anything else for the bottom line.
I think that's about it. If you're having a hard time, we're all having a hard time. Let's get out of it together. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for coming by and listening to us. We'll see you in the future, and by that we mean next week. We're going to try to do one a week. We're going to stay consistent. And look, if we didn't do anything today, we did make a podcast, so we're up.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Okay, I'm the son of Rad Chaser. Chaser. Until then,
my beautiful chasers, please keep chasing them. Rad Chaser.
oh, whoopsie. Every time.
Every time.
We're gonna leave
Although
it in
I don't
this
normally
time,
say
though.
that. Rad Chaser, out.
Rad Chaser.